I don't trust you. You don't have to. This ain't about you and me. It's about me and him. That's my wise man. We'll see. Oh, let's talk about it.
The Rock says, The Rock says.
Welcome back to another episode of FPW, the Flash Pro Wrestling Show. I am your host, Chris Flash, and here we talk pro wrestling. Now, what I was just talking about was the closing segment of this week's Smackdown. We finally know who the fifth member of the OG Bloodline is. Now, I posted on TikTok a theory that I had, right? And it went like this. When Jay was saying, hey, we need to make the call. We need to make the call. Roman called the wise man. Well, we know that the wise man is not going to actually wrestle a match. So what would he have to do with the whole War Games and the fifth member? And so I started thinking, I'm like, well, what if he had to make the call in order for Paul to make a call? And who would he call? Now, a part of me wanted to think maybe it would have been Brock Lesnar, right? I think a lot of people would have been super shocked and intrigued to see a Brock Lesnar teaming with the OG Bloodline, but I don't think that would make sense, especially considering everything that they went through with Paul and Roman going back and just teaming with a bunch of his past just doesn't feel earned. So, and then we're still kind of in the dark about what they're doing with Brock anyway. So I knew that wasn't a realistic idea. It would have been cool to see, just to see what would happen, and I knew it wasn't going to be Seth Rollins. Only reason why I went with that rumor was because it was very heavily rumored since they taped the episode of Raw. But they quickly made it clear that Seth is not teaming with Roman. And they kind of mentioned that on tonight's episode when Sammy mentioned, hey, we can always give Seth one more shot. And Roman just looked at him like, I'm not having that. So, who else could it be? CM Punk. So Paul Heyman comes out during the segment because the show opened with Solo, his bloodline coming out. And, you know, I haven't seen a photo because it went off before they could do it. I don't see anybody else like throwing up the ones with Roman's bloodline. Like, yeah, Sammy does, but Sammy is a part of the OG bloodline. We didn't physically see CM Punk throwing up the ones with Roman to end SmackDown. So when you look at Solo's bloodline and you look at Bronson Reed and him just standing in the back throwing up the ones with Solo, that's acknowledgement. So is he? We know he's not in the bloodline, right? But is he in the bloodline though? Like, what if this isn't just for War Games? Like, what if Bronson is actually saying, no, I'm a part of the bloodline now. And they just decide, okay, well, if Sammy can be a part of the bloodline, then, well, this dude can be a part of the bloodline. At least he looks like us. So they open up the show and Solo pretty much just says, hey, Roman, you know, we don't have to go to war. You can surrender. And tonight, we're going to meet me in this ring and you're gonna accept my terms of surrender. You're going to fall in line. You're going to acknowledge me, blah, 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 blah. So we get all the way to the main event segment, and Solo comes out. He calls out Roman. Roman comes out with the OG bloodline. They get in the ring, and Solo does his whole spiel, you know, saying again, we don't have to go to war. I don't want to fight you. In fact, I still love all of you, and all you got to do is just join my bloodline, and we can run this company for decades. He's not wrong. I mean, the Samoan dynasty has been running WWE for decades, but before Roman could take the microphone and actually say something, we heard those golden three words: ladies and gentlemen. I knew that I knew that I didn't know what I was gonna feel when he came out. In fact, I didn't even think it was gonna happen on a TV taping. I thought it was gonna be for sure on a PLE. But no, they did it for They did a SmackDown in Salt Lake City, and Paul comes out with this crazy tan. Like, y'all know how Ray looked when he first came back and he had the stem cells, so he was slimmed down. The dude looked like he went back in time. That's what Paul kind of looked like. He wasn't the same size as Ray by any means, but he looked like he done slimmed down. He got a tan. He done cut his hair some. Obviously, he was all bearded up and looking scruffy when he first went out. But Paul, like he been trying to get himself in the shape. But he came out and he was dressed in the Bloodline colors, the black and red. For a second, I was like, is he gonna swerve us? Because he kind of dressed like Solo right now. But that didn't happen. And so Paul is like, forgive me, my math could be a little bit off. The last time y'all saw me, I did get put through a table. But you can't do War Games 5-on-4. So we're not going to do War Games 5-on-4. It's going to be 5-on-5. And he points to the entranceway and Cult of Personality hits the arena. And CM Punk comes out. And CM Punk didn't come out like he was like, hey, it's me. It's clobbering time. And then do his whole entrance and then go to the ring. No, he came out taping up his fists like he was ready to go. And I found that to be interesting because he went in there pissed off, not at anybody's, not for Roman, but he was pissed off of what they did to Paul. And so they had the whole rundown. OG Bloodline stands tall. And the Tongans come back in the ring, and they're attacking Roman and CM Punk after CM Punk just having that little stare down moment. And then CM Punk sets up Tama Tonga for the GTS. Roman hits the spear on Tonga Loa, and the stare down just continues. And then there's this great shot of CM Punk right here and Roman right here and Paul Heyman smack dab in the middle of the two Paul Heyman guys. So Roman looks at Punk and he's like, why are you here? And CM Punk is like, I'm here to save your ass. Roman's like, I don't need saving. He's like, well, from where I'm looking at it, he gave me a call. So it seems like you need all the help you can get. Roman's looking at him. He's like, I don't trust you. CM Punk says, you don't have to. The same between me and you is between me and him. Roman looks at Paul and says, that's my Ross man. Punk is like, okay, we'll see. And that was this brush across the face of Roman, like, what you say? So could they be hinting at something going on there? Because Raw is, okay, so we know Raw is going to Netflix. So what if that could be a small little way of Roman and CM Punk going into the Netflix era, going into 2025? Because they're saying that they want Roman Reigns on at least a good amount of the first few episodes of Netflix, just to get the ratings up and get more viewership, see how they can test that model. And do you guys want to see a Roman Reigns and CM Punk story? And if you do, does it involve Paul Heyman in another version of the Paul Heyman Roman Reigns whole storyline they had a couple years ago? Is that something that do you guys want to see that? I mean, it's inevitable for Roman and CM Punk, I guess, to square off given their status in the company, but I don't know if that's something that we need to see, because in order to do that, I feel like you would have to do it Roman away from the bloodline. So how do you get Roman away from the bloodline? And can Roman Reigns exist as a character in WWE if he's not involved with his own bloodline? What y'all think? Something else that happened on this episode of SmackDown was Shinsuke Nakamura is back, and I don't know how to feel about it. Now, I'm a huge fan of Shinsuke, especially his earlier work in NXT and when he first got to the main roster. But after that whole burial at WrestleMania and he didn't win the title, he hasn't been the same ever since. He can't really get over, partly because he hasn't really been positioned well, and he hasn't been a character that's been defended as far as how he's portrayed just doesn't work. It hasn't worked. Now, what did really work is now he's doing these like more anime antagonist type of promos and vignettes. I think that's cool, and I think that could definitely catch on, especially with the rise in anime culture right now. I think that could definitely work. But is it too late? Like Shinsuke's been around for a pretty good while in WWE. So is it too late to repackage his character and make it work? Because do you put a mid card title on him, and how do you make it different from the last time you put a mid card title on him? Remember, he was Intercontinental Champion for what felt like a year, but he never really defended it on any PLEs. So now that the championships feel like they mean more, especially the singles championships, do you pull the trigger on Shinsuke? Is he as interesting enough of a heel to draw the attention of some new baby faces and make some new stars, or at least create some great rivalries, some great matches, and give Shinsuke something? Because we all know that they're not putting the championship on him. They're not putting the WWE championship on him. They're not putting the World Heavyweight Championship on him. So if you put a mid card title, how are you going to make his reign different? Because it seemed like he's going to LA Knight, and LA Knight's reign has been cool, I guess. I didn't really have anything to expect of it. So I can't say it under delivered because I wasn't expecting much. Anyways, LA Knight feels like one of those characters that his chase is better than him actually holding the championship. So yeah, I mean, I don't really feel anything towards it. So is it worth sacrificing Shinsuke, or returning Shinsuke, to LA Knight here? Like, do you use Shinsuke as a way just for him to get over and squash another heel on the roster until eventually y'all feel like taking the title off of him? That's the only thing that scares me. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Hunter believes that Shinsuke can still do something on the main roster and you can build something around him. I'm hoping. I want to talk about what's going on with the women's new mid card division, because we know that there is the women's United States Championship tournament going on SmackDown, and what I find cool about this is, okay, Bayley is in the tournament and she moved to the semifinals. We all kind of expected Bayley was going to be there, but a lot of people, especially online, have been saying that Bianca was going to be the first champion. Now, when I heard that, I was thinking, okay, so do you make her a double champion, or do you take the tag titles off of them first and then use the singles title as a way to spark their story going into Mania? Well, neither one of those things happened, because Jade Cargill got attacked backstage and thrown through a car, and she had the most ridiculous like layout on top of this car. I mean, it worked. What I'm curious on is who was able to do it, because it can't be somebody that's like way smaller than her. It would have to be like somebody pretty powerful, because Jade is not small, and even if you snuck up on her, you know what I'm saying? Like, to be able to drive her all the way off this ledge on top of this car, I'm interested to see who they said was the one that did that. But that was enough of a distraction. They showed that during the match, Bianca Belair taking on Blair Davenport and Chelsea Green. And so they showed that on the screen, and it seemed like Bianca was about to win, but she sees that and she rushes backstage, sacrificing her opportunity to become champion in order to help her. And so Chelsea and Blair left in the ring. Chelsea gets the win. I'm kind of rooting for Chelsea here, just from an entertainment standpoint. From a pure wrestling standpoint, I wouldn't put the championship on her, just because I feel like these mid-card titles are going to be like your workhorse titles for the women's division, and it should be put on someone that can add some sort of, I hate to use this term, but dignity to it. And I don't think the way that Chelsea is portrayed would do that, unless they're trying to push her in a different direction, which I think would be kind of cool. But right now, she doesn't really. She's not that kind of character, right? That's the best way to say it. She's not that type of performer right now, and so I'm intrigued to see her go all the way to the finals. I think she should beat Bayley. I don't know who's on the other side of the bracket. I know Jade is on the other side of the bracket. I don't know who you put the title on. You know, maybe you do put the title on a returning Jade, and Bianca could get jealous because she had to sacrifice her opportunity to go save Jade, and that can spark some jealousy. And maybe we could get a Bianca Belair heel turn. I think I like the sound of that. But what I don't understand is why Raw hasn't announced that they're gonna have a women's intercontinental championship. Like, what are we waiting on? If you want to make Saturday Night Main Event as big as it possibly can be, crown two brand new, never before seen champions. Like, they announced the women's tournament a couple weeks ago. They said nothing about it for Raw. So are we waiting to the buzzer? Because we don't have that much time between now and December 14th. And so they're gonna have to go through an entire tournament over on the Raw side to get everything started. So I don't know why they just haven't started at the same time. Maybe they're gonna try to chunk everything into 2 weeks, but I don't see them putting that many women's matches on one show. But hey, I guess maybe they don't have. I guess maybe they can two triple threat matches, right? Two triple threat matches per week, and then you have well, no, because you got to do the semifinals too. I don't know how they're gonna do it. Maybe they're waiting until Netflix. Yeah, maybe they're waiting until Netflix to crown the first champion. So they're gonna start the Raw tournament for the Women's Intercontinental Champion, maybe at Main Event, and then for the rest of the time, or top of December, right after War Games, and then they can announce the title there, and then they can have the entire, well, still 2 weeks, I guess, to stuff in this Raw. No, the entire month of December to stuff in all these this entire tournament of matches, and then right at the beginning of the year going into Netflix, that's the finals, and you can get your women's intercontinental champion on. Yeah, that'll be a way to get eyeballs on that first episode. I like that. I think that should be the way that they go. Last thing I want to talk about is this whole Montez Ford, I guess Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns DIY little circle they got going on here. I like the way it seems like they're slow burning a Street Profits heel turn, and I'm 100% okay with that. But what I'm really entertained by is Tommaso Ciampa. We all kind of knew that Tommaso was gonna turn on Johnny at some point, but normally when he does it, it's just kind of like out of nowhere, and it's just because you're holding me back or whatever. But this time, it's really justified. That's my favorite thing about this version of the Blackheart character that Tommaso is bringing into the main roster. And kudos to Michael Cole and Corey really putting him over on commentary the way that they did. Like, bringing up who he was in NXT, especially with the fever pitch that the NXT is on right now, and really making it feel like, okay, this guy's important. He's not just a tag team guy with Johnny. This guy could be something. And of course, now you gotta then build up Johnny Gargano to kind of remake their iconic feud back in NXT. But this is dope because you can now show off a different, much more vicious version of Tommaso Ciampa that we haven't seen, and they showcased that brilliantly in this match that he had with Montez Ford. This felt like a black and gold NXT match. Like, Ciampa broke out the knees that he's known for. He broke out all of the counters that he normally does. The only thing I didn't see him do was is it Willow's Bell? the draping DDT. That was the only thing I didn't see him do. Montez was great doing all his high flying stuff. I mean, it was a great clash of styles, really, because you don't see Tommaso doing any high flying moves, but they both have the same build, the same speed, the same pretty much the same everything across the board, strength and everything. I mean, I think, yeah, I would say Montez is bigger than Tommaso, but they fit each other inside the ring. The chemistry was great. And Tommaso hit this wicked jumping knee to a counter of a springboard that Montez did. And when they were setting up for it, I jumped out of my chair and was like, knee him. And he did it, and it was beautiful. Perfect selling by Montez. But when Tommaso goes for the fairy tale ending, somehow Montez lifts him up and gets him into a cradle pin for the win. Honestly, I wasn't expecting Montez to win this match. I kind of wanted to see what would happen if Tommaso actually beat Montez and what that would do for the trajectory of where the Street Profits go in their heel turn. I was really looking forward to that. But he attacked him after the match, and then Dawkins comes down and stops that whole beat down, and then out comes the Motor City Machine Guns, and then out comes Johnny Gargano. Tommaso pushes Johnny Gargano down again, and then the Motor City Machine Guns come out to save Johnny. And so I guess DIY is done technically, because after that I can't see them actually teaming up. Unless if they do team up, then that's when you're going to actually visibly see the heel turn, right? And maybe they could do that. Maybe they could set that up, triple threat match. They could set that up for Survivor Series. I think that'd be kind of cool, just to give them a PLE appearance and let them actually feel, you know what I mean, feel that energy, feel that crowd. And only question is, who do you let win? Like, who goes over in that match? Like, cause I'm kind of getting tired of the Street Profits losing, and especially them taking pins. So if you're trying to build up the Profits again, I don't feel like you can lose here. I think Motor City Machine Guns have had their moment. They don't have to be champions for a long period of time, I don't think. I think we pretty much know the formula of how their matches are gonna go. They're very fast. They high fly. They're very technical. They're an all around tag team. I think we get that, but I think it's time to pull the trigger again on the Profits. I think it's more entertaining to see them in this way with a chip on their shoulder, and then put the titles on them and see how they do that. I think that's how I would book it. But y'all let me know. Y'all let me know who y'all would want to win the tag team championships coming out of War Games if they go that direction. That is it for this episode. Let me know what you guys think of this week's episode of SmackDown. Leave it down in the comments, and I will see you guys down the road. And as always, be safe, be blessed, be kind. Peace.
The Rock says,